Hi, everyone. I just wanted to bring to you today a personal greeting from my home and from my heart, just to bring an update on where things are at the moment and how we can move forward together toward a time when we can meet together again. I'm so missing you. I've I've missed our conversations. I've missed our fellowship, our social activities, laughing together face to face instead of through Zoom and videos and all these other medias that we are using at the moment. I can't wait until we can find a context where we are back together again. We keep praying for you all, particularly those of you who are by yourself or having to shield for a lengthy period of time because of your health. Please be assured of our love for you and our prayers for you continuously. Yesterday, we heard from our Prime Minister, Mr. Boris, that he is easing some of the lockdown measures, and we're allowed now to gather in groups of up to 6 people in a garden, would you believe? Not just out in a field somewhere. Now, I know for those of you who have a family size of 5 people, that may mean that only one other can join you in your back garden. But that aside, there is an easing of the restrictions on us now. And I wonder whether or not we could make use of that over the next few weeks. Why don't we consider inviting people round to our back gardens, making sure we stick to the guidelines, making sure we stick to social distancing rules, but maybe we can have picnics in one another's gardens. And I would suggest a picnic because that means there are no cross-contamination issues in terms of the host having to prepare food or anything like that. Bring a picnic and sit in a garden somewhere. Why not invite a few people round? The weather's beautiful, and so we can sit out and just enjoy each other's company. It's a good opportunity. I'm also very mindful that during this time, the lockdown and the restrictions affect people in so many different ways. We're all, of course, affected in one very similar way, and that is that we are keeping ourselves from being infected by this virus and trying to stay safe and trying to stay well. There's a commonality there, but for so many, it's different. For example, if you are a couple and you are at work in normal circumstances, probably the main impact on you is your social interactions and the ability to go out and have a good meal or a nice pint at a pub somewhere. But if you are by yourself, it is a completely different kettle of fish. And I'm so mindful that we can't just say this is the same for all of us on all occasions, because it's not. If you're shielding, you are still very, very concerned that contact with the wrong people may mean ill health for you and even maybe a threat of life. And so I'm very mindful of that, and we should all be mindful of that and make sure that we're helping those who are finding it that bit more difficult. Equally, I think across our churches in regions beyond around the world, things are so different. The same common theme, we're all trying to stay safe. I had a message from our dear friend Franco Lanapan from Mumbai yesterday, who oversees the churches in India. And of course, they are doing the same as us. They're in lockdown, but they have huge poverty issues due to massive, massive unemployment. And with the volume of people in locations there, this is proving to be very, very difficult. But they have an added thing that they are now having to deal with. Up in the northern area of India, where we have some churches, they are suffering a massive locust storm. It's more than they've ever experienced before. It's almost like biblical proportions. There's a plague, and now there are locusts. And it is affecting the very little crops that they have and affecting livelihood. And I just want to be mindful that we're very privileged here in as much as we have services and supplies and those who are helping us, and it's great to honour them. But in some countries, that's not the case. And particularly for Franco and the churches in India, they are really struggling, having a hard time at the moment. But they're doing great things among the poor. They're feeding so many people who are not able to feed themselves. I was chatting to a pastor in Cape Town on Zoom, just a few weeks ago. And it's a church of 400 or 500 people, lots of resources, it would seem. And I was expecting them to say that they're doing all sorts of things online and keeping in touch with one another and producing really high quality videos. And to my surprise, Sheldon said to me that, no, he said, we can't do any of that because most of the people who come to our church don't have the ability to receive that technology. And so they're having to get around as safely as they possibly can, to visit where they can, and to make lots and lots and lots of telephone calls. And so their context is very different. I was chatting to a pastor up in Wrexham, our dear friend Nigel Lloyd, and in Wales, the lockdown restrictions are very different. And for them, they're not looking at being able to meet publicly until at least September, which is a great hardship to them. They're just across the border, but things are so different. So I'm saying this because I want us to be mindful that it's so different for each of us. And how it affects one is very different to how it affects another. And we want to be clear that we want to support where we can in every single context. We have been told also that probably from the 4th of July, if the virus doesn't increase, the R rate doesn't go up, we are going to be able to meet again in some context. But I just want to assure you that in doing that, we also want to be mindful of the fact that you haven't seen family and friends for a long time. And you're going to want to spend those first moments of the release from lockdown to go and see those family and friends. And we don't want to put additional burdens on you, whereas a church is saying, hey, we're all back together again, be good to see you, let's all get there. No, we don't want to do that, because that's not bearing in mind the fact that you have a life that you need to re-engage with elsewhere among your family, grandchildren and friends. And so we're going to ease our way back into meeting again carefully. We're going to use social activities rather than just jumping straight in and doing business as usual. I don't think it is business as usual now. We need to find better ways to engage together and safer ways all the time there is the threat of an increase in the pandemic. We'll keep you in touch with the developments of that as we become clearer ourselves. Louis Krog has been really helpful in helping us understand some of the health and safety issues of meeting together from July onwards, and we need to take care of those precautions. But there is coming a day when we will meet again, when we will be together again. I'll be so glad when I don't have to use Zoom for every single gathering and pastoral occasion. I don't know about you, but I feel completely zoomed out. We had a home group meeting last night. Looking at the screen, I'm thinking this has become normal now, and I'd rather it wasn't. So we're looking forward to meeting again soon. I would ask you, keep praying for each other. Let's not flag in these last weeks of lockdown. Let us actually gain greater momentum and energy. Let's find ways of transitioning toward the freedom to meet again. Let's not hold back and say, well, it'll be different in a few weeks' time. I want to encourage you. Let's be all the more vigilant toward one another. I'm going to invite a few people from time to time around to our home in our garden, ask you to bring a picnic and just sit and natter with you. It'd be so good to see you that way. Maybe you could do the same in your home. If you've got a back garden with plenty of space and you've got the willingness to do it, let's do that. Let's find ways of accelerating our connection with one another in these last days of the lockdown. But in doing so, please don't ignore the social distancing rules and the hygiene rules. That's so important. We don't want to be those who add to the spread of the infection. We want to be diligent in what we do and follow the guidelines as have been set out. God bless you, my friends. Let's keep praying for one another. Let's keep praying for our friends around the country and our friends around the globe. I've mentioned two. That's Sheldon Kidwell down there in Cape Town at the Bay, and also Franco Lanapan in Mumbai. Let's pray for them and the context that they are serving and that they find themselves in. But let's keep praying for one another all the more as the day approaches for us to be able to gather physically face to face. God bless you. I hope this encourages you just for a moment. And I look forward to bringing the message on Sunday. It's Pentecost Sunday. and I'm really excited about that. So God bless you. Have a safe day. Have a good day. And may God's hand of favor be upon you like a shield, covering you and protecting you.